Okay, good morning everybody. Good morning councillors and staff. Welcome to the general meeting for the month of August. We'll go now to item 2, leave of absence and apologies. I believe we've got a couple of apologies. Mr CEO.
Yes, Deputy Mayor and Acting Chair. We have an apology for Councillor Duff, who is attending a funeral, and the Mayor is ill. So if we could have a resolution for those two, please.
Okay, so I'll move that those leave of absence be granted or apologies be received. Do I have a seconder? Thanks, Councillor Shoemaker. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, we'll move on now to our morning prayers, and I believe that we have a father in the chamber. I'd like to ask him to come forward and present his prayers. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't need to touch that. That's all good. Excellent. All right. Good morning, everybody, and to our councillors that are. I don't know if I'm looking at the right direction, but I'm looking at the screen anyway. G'day. Good to. This is quite a different dynamic that I'm looking here. Okay. Quite a different dynamic than I've been used to, but it's adjusting, isn't it? And it's great to see everyone else is in the same boat as me. But hey, it's such a privilege to be here this morning. I don't look anything like Lyle, and that's because I'm not him. Lyle's at a conference today, and he asked me to step in, so I didn't just wake up overnight and become 40 years younger and dye my hair red. I'm a totally different person. So anyway, great to be here with you all. I'd just like to share an experience that happened with you, with you all this morning, and just a bit of context before I do. I'm a sort of person that loves a hot, fresh coffee in the morning, and I just love going into a cafe and just ordering a flat white, just letting it sink down in deep into my soul and letting it kickstart me for the day ahead. I don't know if any of you are in that boat, and those who are on Zoom or whatever online thing you're using are in that boat as well, but I really love good coffee in the morning just to kickstart my day. And anyway, I was down in Brisbane about a fortnight ago at meetings myself actually, and as my custom is, I want to go and find a good coffee somewhere, and because I used to live in Brisbane about 4 or 5 years ago, I decided to go back to a place that I used to frequent or religiously go to, excuse the pun there, but I went back to that place and walked on in, and the atmosphere is vibing. There's like good coffee smells wafting through the air. You can imagine the sort of scene that's before me, and I walked up to the counter and put my order in, and the bloke who was behind the counter actually recognised me from 5 years previous, and I was stoked. I couldn't believe it, and I must be a pretty recognisable man with the orange moustache and hair and everything. And anyway, we got chatting, and it was all good, and felt pretty good about it. And when it came time to pay for the coffee, he actually goes, "No, it's all right, mate. It's on us." And when you receive something for free, can you be a down person in that moment? Not really, can you? I got a free coffee. I was ecstatic. I was jumping off the walls. I felt like I was walking in the clouds. Nothing could hamper my situation or my mood in that point. I was stoked because this cafe owner not only had recognised me, but he decided to show a little bit of kindness to me in that moment and donate that morning coffee to me. And I think it says something a lot about the way in which we can hold ourselves as leaders and servants of public people. Pastors and councillors are sort of similar, as we sort of interact with people a lot and sort of make decisions that hopefully better our community. But it shows us that if we're just able to show a little bit of kindness in the moment, it goes a long way. And on Monday, actually, my wife and I were in Toowoomba having scans done. We're actually expecting our third child in January. And I'm hoping for a non-redhead this time just to balance things out a little bit. But you can't really tell in the scans anyway. The person who was doing the scans for us actually could have just been doing their job. I don't know how they hold themselves, but she was just a person who was constantly talking to my wife throughout this whole process. And, like I said, I don't know if that's what they're supposed to do, but she just put my wife at ease because it can be a little bit of a different scary moment because you don't know what you're really going to expect. And when I left there, I had a similar feeling to having that coffee that was given to me that morning because someone just chose to show my family a little bit of kindness. And I think a little bit of kindness goes a long way. I just want to share with you two scriptures that talk about kindness this morning. First one's from Ephesians 4:32, and it says, "You must be kind to each other. Think of the other person. Forgive people just as God forgave you." And in 1 Peter 3:8-9, it says, "Love each other with a kind heart and mind." And so that's the message I want to bring to you this morning, is that, we as leaders in our community, we can be very focused on KPIs and meeting budgets and the things we have to do in that day. But if we show a little bit of kindness to the people around us, it's going to make a big difference. So a little bit of kindness goes a long way. And I just want to encourage you with that this morning. And I'll pray for you now, if that's okay, wherever I'm looking. You just have to bear with me. Thank you. Heavenly Father, today we want to thank you just for the privilege to be able to be here and to make decisions that impact our community and our local area. And Lord, I just want to pray for all the councillors here and those that are online as well as part of this meeting, and for the councillors and mayor who couldn't make it here today. I just want to pray for them in their role, and I just pray for a special blessing over them. And I know, Lord, it can sometimes be hard in leadership. It's hard to make decisions. It's hard to deal with stress of everyday life. So I just want to pray for them, for peace to be over them this morning as they make decisions, and give them the wisdom and the know-how to be able to navigate all the tricky things that come up in council life. And we just want to pray over all these things. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen.
Thank you, Father, and very wise words. A little bit of kindness goes a long way at different times and in different circumstances. So thank you very much for sharing that with us. We'll move on now to item 4, the acknowledgement of traditional owners. Councillor Duff is the normal councillor that does that. I guess I can fill that role if that's okay with the rest of the councillors, and I would just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we meet here today, the Waka Waka people, and pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. So thank you once again. Go on now to item number 5, declaration of interest. Councillors, we have a declaration there. Councillor Shoemaker? No? A conflict of interest there on item 5, declarable, not you. I, Councillor Kirsty Shoemaker, inform this meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest. Alan Sterling Memorial Park.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Councillor Jones. I can't see the screen there. Yes, I did want to declare that conflict as I do own a investment property at the Bunya Mountains, and I had declared it at the committee meeting, and I'm happy to leave the room while councillors vote on whether I can stay and be part of that discussion, or I guess seek guidance from CEO Mark if we've already addressed that through the committee meeting. What's the best option there?
Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Acting Chair. Councillor, it was already, the matter was resolved at the Livability Standing Committee, so unless there's a change of circumstances, that stands.
Thank you for confirming. Yes, I'd just like that noted absolutely in the minutes. Thank you.
Excellent. No other declarable interest from any other councillors? All good to go? Excellent. Move on now to item 6.1, petition Avoca Place, Nanango. The officer's recommendation that the petition be received and referred to the Chief Executive Officer to determine the appropriate action, and a report be brought back to council.
Do
we have a mover?
Acting
Sorry.
Chair, if I may.
Yep.
The petition was forwarded and it's being placed on the agenda for as process has. Item 11.1 is the exact same item. So if council was of the mind, so this certainly has been in discussion. The recommendation could be changed to the petition be received and referred to Chief Executive Officer to reply in accordance with council's resolution, whatever it may be, in 11.1. Because they are exact same items, and it'll just save duplication and a loss of time.
Yep. Councillors happy with that? Okay, so the officer's recommendation reads now that the petition be received and referred to the Chief Executive Officer to reply in accordance to council resolution in item 11.1. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, second to Councillor Erkins. Comments, questions, councillors? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 6.2, petition for the Mergen Dog Park. The officer's recommendation that the petition be received and referred to the Chief Executive Officer to determine the appropriate action and a report be brought back to council. We have a mover. Councillor Erkins, second. Councillor Shoemaker, I'm having trouble seeing Councillors Potter and Henson in the chamber, Mr. CEO. So, yeah, that's it. I can see you now there, Danita. Councillor, yep, thank you. Gotchas. So if you're going to second something, guys, if I can ask you just to reach up high, that'll be good. Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder there. That the petition be received and referred to the Chief Executive Officer to determine the appropriate action and a report be brought back to council. Moved by Councillor Erkins, second by Councillor Shoemaker. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 7.1, minutes of the council meeting held on the 20th of July 2022. The officer's recommendation that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 20th of July 2022 be received and the recommendations therein be adopted. Do I have a mover? Councillor Henson. Seconder, Councillor Potter. Any questions, comments, councillors? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 8.1, business outstanding table for ordinary council meeting. The officer's recommendation that the business outstanding table for the ordinary council meeting be received for information. We have a mover. Councillor Potter, seconder. Councillor Henson. Any questions, comments, councillors, before we go to the vote? Okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, we go on to 9.1. I believe there's a bit of an issue around this one. The notice of motion for social housing in Highsville. The officer's recommendation, there's a procedural motion that the matter be lifted from the floor. Mr. CEO, I believe Councillor Duff was the councillor to move this notice of motion and she's not with us today. I'll come to you for some advice moving forward, please.
Thank you, Acting Chair. So the first one is if we could have the procedural motion just lifted off the table, please.
Okay, so we need a mover and a seconder for that? Yes? Okay, so we'll have, do we have a mover? Councillor Erkins, seconded Councillor Shoemaker. Mr. CEO?
Yep, you just go straight to the vote for procedurals.
Okay, so we'll go straight to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. So I believe now that motion reads that 9 Bar Street, Highsville be withdrawn from sale and the land be designated as a social housing asset and that expressions of interest be sought from not-for-profit organisations to construct affordable housing through an agreement with council to accommodate a local family within Highsville. Now, as you can see, the motion was moved by Councillor Duff. It was left on the table. The councillor in question is not here today. Mr. CEO, open for advice, or do we go to councillors for discussion or comment?
Acting Chair, if I may, certainly General Manager O'May had a conversation with the councillor. It's in the summary paragraph, and Councillor Potter was, okay, Councillor Potter has got her light on here as well to speak. But certainly, if I may throw to General Manager O'May after Councillor Potter, did you want to go first, or General Manager O'May? Councillor Potter first.
Yeah, thank you.
Potter.
Through you, Acting Chair, I actually had a chat with, I phoned Councillor Duff up yesterday with regards to this particular motion, and her words to me was, I'm hoping it goes with what General Manager O'May says, but she said she's quite happy to put this on the market, but she did want the money that it was sold for to actually be spent within the Highsville area. So that was after my discussion I had with Councillor Duff yesterday.
General Manager O'May, comments?
Yeah, through you, Acting Chair. Yeah, so this one was laid on the table just so we could go back and get some further information, which we did, talking about the social housing, which was included in the report, more for completeness. But in the interim, and have had discussions with Councillor Duff, and she was happy to withdraw this motion as she's found alternative arrangements for the family, the problems that she was looking at solving. So she was happy to withdraw the motion, which then removed any restrictions over this parcel of land, and council can deal with it or sell it, whatever we like to do, without that restriction of retaining it for social housing. Councillor Potter's comments about the restrictions, there is another matter later on in the agenda about the sale of land, so that's where you would deal with the sale of land. This was just really whether it be earmarked for social housing, but Councillor Duff had indicated she was happy for the motion to be withdrawn.
So, Acting Chair,
Okay. Yeah.
what we went back normally. Well, I won't say normally. Depending on standing orders. So our standing orders in a motion may be 315.4. A motion may be withdrawn where councillor at the meeting. A motion may not be withdrawn where a councillor at the meeting objects to its removal. So it does need to be unanimous to remove a motion or withdraw a motion, and by the leave of the meeting. When a motion has been moved and seconded, it is subject to the control of council and may not be withdrawn without the consent of the council meeting. So in this circumstance, and particularly without the councillor in attendance, and Councillor Erkins as the seconder would be certainly valuable to get her consent, is a procedural motion to withdraw.
Yep. Okay. So, Councillor Erkins, you got any comments around that?
No, I'm happy to withdraw the motion.
So, would you like to move a procedural motion that we remove? Mr. CEO, guided by you here on the wording.
Yeah, I was just looking. Councillor Henson was trying to get his light on, so I think he's looking for the
Thank
call.
you. Thank you,
Chair.
Mr CEO, and through you, Deputy Chair. Yes, look, and thank you, Councillor Erkins, and certainly appreciate the fact that Councillor Duff is not present today, but would be happy with direction, Mr CEO, as to whether I'll be able to move a motion to withdraw that from the motion that be withdrawn for sale. My motion be that it be put back for sale.
Thank you, Councillor. Acting Chair, with the matter was going to be discussed in conjunction with another report in closed session. So there is already another report in that vein. The reason, after the discussion we had at the meeting, it wasn't, was the engagement with the councillor and the general manager that it would be withdrawn. So it was popped back into the front of agenda where it would normally sit. So a procedural motion to withdraw now. If there is no objection by the meeting, well, procedural motion to withdraw. Procedural motion has no debate. It's just moved, seconded, and then voted on. But to withdraw, it does need to be unanimous.
Yeah. So can we ask, so do we need, with Councillor Duff's comments about the money that's gained through the sale of that block of land be spent in Hydesville?
Acting Chair, I would suggest when we get to that matter in the closed report that we deal with that.
Okay.
Then.
Thank you. Righto. So we just have a procedural motion with consent of the meeting. The motion was withdrawn. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson.
Yep.
Seconded.
I'm happy to second.
Yeah, Councillor Erkins. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you.
Acting Chair, the agenda did something funky, so you'll notice 9.1 is duplicated on page 76 and 77. It picked up the heading, so you're on to 9.2 on page 79, please.
Mr. CEO, that lovely young lady sitting next to you's got me covered. I'm all over it here. Notice of motion, school-based COVID vaccination program. Officer's recommendation that council approach Darling Downs Health as to the possibility of offering school-based Moderna vaccinations within schools across the South Burnett. Do you have a mover? Councillor Erkins. Do you have a seconder? I'll second it for discussion. Okay, I'll open it up to the floor now for comments on that council approach Darling Downs Health as the possibility of offering school-based Moderna vaccinations within schools across the South Burnett.
Through you, acting
Yes,
Mayor.
councillor. Yep.
I've read a fair bit on this, and I did respond to someone who had written and complained about us making this decision. We often speak in council about being responsible for our communities, and as far as I can see, this is a recommendation by Queensland Health that we encourage that people are vaccinated, and as so-called leaders of our community, for us to be stepping back on not encouraging and not supporting this motion, all we are doing is recommending to Queensland Health it's done. We're not going in and doing it, but I believe that we are in breach of our duties as leaders in the community if we do not do this. It's put out by the Queensland Health. It's not something that we're making up. It's not something we've read on Facebook. It's fact. We're better off immunised.
Other councillors? Councillor Anchin?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, thank you, Councillor Erkins. This has been discussed previously and certainly in the last 2 years. I'm not going to support this motion as it was discussed in chambers. Parents and families have the option to go to many places other than have to have their children subjected to this in school. And I don't believe this is a council matter. This is a Queensland Health and perhaps a state government issue. And it's created division previously within parents and within children in school grounds, and I do not wish that to happen again. It is their decision and how they go about it. People can go openly to a pharmacy in any particular town and organise a vaccination, and that's their own choice. So I will not be supporting this motion, even though it's a suggestion to go to Darling Downs Health. That's not, I believe, in council or our community and certainly our families and parents and children's best interests. It's their decisions. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Anchin. Other councillors? Councillor Potter, Councillor Shoemaker. Councillor Shoemaker? See
Yes,
your hand.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Jones. Look, I have thought about this. We are actually catching up with the Darling Downs Health Board for a luncheon in the next month. I think that's a wonderful opportunity for us as a council to get a better understanding as to where things are at in relation to the vaccinations and the processes of Queensland Health. I don't feel comfortable making recommendations to Queensland Health at this point in time. I really don't have the information that they have at hand. It's not council core business. I absolutely agree that the well-being of our community is important, and I am vaccinated and I support my children are vaccinated. I support the vaccination rollout. However, I also respect people's opportunity to make their own choices and decisions, and I'm just not comfortable supporting this motion. I have thought about it, and I would prefer to take advice from those with certainly more knowledge on this than I have. And I look forward to that meeting with Darling Downs Health Board, where we may be able to discuss this as an item as part of that meeting. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Jones.
Thanks, Councillor Shoemaker. Councillor Potter, any comments?
Yeah, look, I've already spoken about this. I will not be supporting this motion because I do feel that this is a matter for Queensland Health and a matter for Queensland Education. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And just quickly, from my point of view, I think the intent of the motion was obviously not to make it you have to get it. I think it was just to have it there as to offer it, and I fully understand that. And I apologise for being away for the last month, but I agree. This is an issue that needs to be sorted out through Queensland Health, Queensland Education, and if it's available, why haven't they rolled it out? Why haven't they already done it? So Councillor Shoemaker's indicated that we have a great opportunity in the next month to catch up with Darling Downs Health. So at this stage, I will be certainly waiting for that particular opportunity to have that discussion. So I won't be supporting this motion as it stands today. Okay, so I think that rounds up all the right reply. Councillor Erkins, yes.
Thank you. I would just like to say, in hearing some of the comments, when I hear said that councillors prefer to take advice from other people, well, I really don't think you can get much better advice than from the Queensland Health Authority. The motion actually says that we approach Darling Downs Health as to the possibility of offering school-based vaccinations within schools across the South Burnett. It doesn't say we're going to round them up and make them have it. And as I said, the advice comes from the very best. We all seek medical advice on other things. I note that with the foot and mouth, we took advice on that, and council as a whole supported that. So I'd just like to leave that with you, that we're talking about the safety of our community here. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thanks, Councillor Erkins. We'll go to the vote. We have the motion in front of us. Bree's just covered that off on me. That the council approach Darling Downs Health as to the possibility of offering school-based Moderna vaccinations within schools across the South Burnett. Moved by Councillor Erkins, seconded by Councillor Jones. All those in favour? Councillor Erkins. Against? Councillor Jones, Councillor Shoemaker, Councillor Henson, Councillor Potter. Motion defeated, 4 votes to 1. 9.3, notice of motion, in-kind support for Cumbia Hall Centenary. The officer's recommendation that South Burnett Regional Council provide in-kind support to the Cumbia Hall Committee for the Centenary celebrations to be held between Saturday the 3rd and Sunday the 4th of September 2022. And 2, delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate and approve such based on available council resources. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson. Seconder? Councillor Potter. Comments, questions, councillors? Councillor Henson, are you? No, Councillor Shoemaker.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. No, nothing quickly, but we've got many of these coming up with Nanango next year and certainly Proston. So I think that's just a given to try and help these communities out, and we'll be hopefully supporting all of those when they put something forward as well. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Shoemaker.
Yes, just going to say it's a wonderful event. I'm very disappointed I'll actually be out of town that weekend, but really do wish the Cumbia Hall Committee and the entire Cumbia community a great success with their centenary celebrations.
Okay, thank you. Any other councillors? Before we go to the vote, we'll go to the vote. So the South Burnett Regional Council, 1, provide in-kind support to the Cumbia Hall Committee for the centenary celebrations to be held between Saturday the 3rd and Sunday the 4th of September 22, and 2, delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate and approve such based on available council resources. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 10.1, Acting Chief Executive Officer. Officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council approves the Chief Executive Officer leave from the 31st of August 2022 to the 14th of September 2022 and appoints a General Manager Livability as Acting Chief Executive Officer. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker. Seconder, Councillor Potter. Now, excuse me for my ignorance, Mr. CEO, but since in the last month, Livability and Acting Chief Executive Officer, is that General Manager Jarvis?
No, that's no, you're not quite. General Manager O'May. So
Okay, yeah, there you go.
if I take the
Excuse
opportunity
me
of
for my ignorance, everybody.
Yep. No, General Manager Jarvis was last time, and there is also some pre-commitments for General Manager Jarvis over the period of time. And so in the view of opportunities for the senior management team, General Manager O'May has agreed to help me cover some medical appointments and some personal appointments.
Very good. Okay, so the motion is moved by Councillor Shoemaker, seconded by Councillor Potter. The South Burnett Regional Council approves the Chief Executive Officer leave from the 31st of August 2022 to the 14th of September 22 and appoints a General Manager Livability as Acting Chief Executive Officer. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 10.2. assignment. Oh, can you go down one, Bree? I just can't. Assignment, oh, no, the other way, please. There we go. Assignment of council portfolio representation. The officer's recommendation is that the following council portfolios be assigned. What have you done there? So you can see them all there. I won't. There we go. So Mayor Brett Otto will be corporate governance, strategy, people culture, communications, media, finance, sustainability, ICT, business systems, community representation and advocacy. Councillor Duff, rural resilience and disaster recovery, parks and gardens, property and facility management, First Nations affairs. Councillor Potter, community development, health, youth, senior citizens, arts, heritage, local disaster management, waste and recycling management and library services. Councillor Erkins, tourism and VIX, sport and recreation, commercial, enterprise, sale yards, dams, aerodromes, cemeteries. Councillor Shoemaker will be regional development, industry, agriculture, water, security, energy and circular economy, development service, planning, building, plumbing, community and social housing. Councillor Henshin will be natural resource management, rural services, agricultural innovation, compliance and environmental health. And little old me will be infrastructure, planning, works, construction and maintenance, water and wastewater, plant and fleet. And 2, that a report be brought to the September Executive and Finance Corporate Standing Committee to review the terms of reference of council standing committees and consider the options of 2 standing committees in comparison to the current 3. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, second Councillor Potter.
Acting Mayor, just could we do them as 2 separates? So there was, if once they're moved, if the first one's moved, because there was, you'll notice there's some yellow and green in there with changes of language from the last one. I'd just like to publicly talk council through why that is, particularly with the attachment of the staff breakup.
Well, do you want to talk through that now before we get a second to remove and go again, or how do you want to go?
Well, with the mover and the seconder, if they're happy, just we'll do number 1 as one, and we'll do 2 separate because they are 2 different topics.
Councillor Shoemaker, Councillor Potter, happy with that? Yep.
Yep.
Okay. CEO, away you go.
All right, thanks, Acting Chair. I'll be quick. So this went through. So through my absence through August, we would have brought this back to the August standing committees, and then with the movement of the standing committee forward by a week, it just was returned to work. It wasn't possible. What I've done is, what I've done is we've gone through and married up the organisational structure to make sure that the language between the portfolio and the organisational structure now is consistent. So as we've been doing the org review, and once we adopted the management structure, we've gone through and married up all the departmental functions to ensure that each council with a portfolio, there's a commonality of language and their portfolio is represented in the department, so they know exactly. And so we'll have the acceptable request guidelines has come up a couple of times, and so that'll be the next phase, is that, as well as marrying up and tidying up that process from a couple of bits and pieces that have happened in the past. So we've gone through and tried not to change, absolutely not change any of the intent of what council adopted. There was a couple where, particularly with the councillors moving away with the portfolio from a departmental structure, where there's differences between which infrastructure or which standing committee, exec or livability, finance and exec and livability, were able to report to. So this process will pretty much have everyone reporting to a standing committee and not having that broken up. And the then Councillor Froloff, you may remember, had water and waste and disaster management, and we were breaking up over several standing committees as far as doing the portfolio reports. So this pretty much compartmentalises and put everyone on the same, so we can go from there. The concept of the second point, which I'll address on now, is In October, again with the LGAQ, we often have the issue where we need to bring forward the Exec and Finance Committee meeting to put it on the exact day as the livability, and you're trying to get times. There's a very good opportunity here to actually consolidate these. They won't necessarily, and this would be the review of the standing committees and get council's consent to move forward, probably from October, if would certainly be possible. So first quarter, we'd have the current structure. It's also, most times with standing committees, you also have a self-assessment process as to how they've been functioning, and do they do the job? Is there anything we can do better? The second one would be a good opportunity. We can consolidate because clearly now, with the portfolio structure as it is, there's one councillor with the three, so there would be one councillor reporting to the Infrastructure Standing Committee. Finance and Exec, I think would be two, and the rest would be going to livability. Livability has been the biggest agenda of all the, if we do it as a departmental, and certainly it's reflective of the corporate plan, and that's the other aspect of this. It's brought the language in line with the corporate plan. So one of the things that we've wanted out of the org review, and certainly I would direct council to note the attachment, it will give a very hopefully, well, not hopefully, it'll give a very clear, if I've got a question about this topic, this is the department or the manager I go to. So hence why it was played. Green is added in new, yellow with a strike through was taken out, and it's not that it was taken out, but the language was changed, and so any of the changes can be clearly seen in the portfolio, and happy to take questions, Acting Chair. If not, it's pretty much as it was adopted, but just put into corporate language.
Thanks, Mr. CEO. Pretty good explanation. I think it's all straightforward to all the councillors. Have you got any questions, councillors, before we go to the vote? All good. So we've got there on, we're only voting on item number 1, that the following councillor portfolios be assigned. Moved by Councillor Shoemaker, seconded by Councillor Potter. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. We move on to item 2 of that motion, that the report be brought to the September executive. There we go. That the report be brought to the September Executive and Finance Corporate Standing Committee to review the terms of reference of council standing committees and consider the options of 2 standing committees in comparison to the current 3. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, second to Councillor Potter. Questions, comments? Any comments, Mr. CEO?
No, Acting Chair. The only thing is with Councillor Erkins moving away from the screen, just for probity and propriety, are we? Yep, no, she's still there. See the arm? So we're still 5. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Shoemaker.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor Jones. I'm just thinking, question for CEO Mark. I also think this could be a great, I've been taking a very close look at our standing committee orders, and I was wondering if perhaps we could combine a review of those as well, being that Councillor Erkins is new to council. And I just think if we are changing the framework, it's timely to review those standing orders as well, and probably just recommending that we add that to the motion.
Yeah.
And seeking your advice.
Certainly, Councillor. They're in the conduct of council and committee meetings policy, so we can bring that policy back at the same time. So with the leave of the meeting, we can add that in there as well, if that's what council's will is.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please. Are you able to add that in, CEO Mark? Sorry, Chair.
No, you're all good. Makes sense to do both together.
Okay, that's added in, Chair.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just read out the motion now that it's been changed, and I'll come back to Councillor Shoemaker and Potter for agreeance that a report be brought to the September Executive and Finance Corporate Standing Committee to review the terms of reference of Council standing committees, conduct of Council and committee meetings policy, and consider the options of 2 standing committees in comparison to the current 3. Councillor Shoemaker is the mover. Are you happy with that? Councillor Potter is second. Are you happy?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Yes, okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
And sorry, oh, yep, there's,
All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 10.3, monthly financial information. Officer's recommendation that the monthly financial report, including capital works and works for Queensland, W4Q4, as at the 31st of July 2022, be received and noted. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson, thank you. Seconder? Councillor Potter. Comments, questions, councillors, before we go to the vote? It's all there for everybody to see in the agenda. So that we'll go to the motion moved by Councillor Henson, seconded by Councillor Potter, that the monthly financial report, including capital works and works for Queensland, W4Q4, as at the 31st of July 2022, be received and noted. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 10.4, loans to community organisation, the Nango AP&M Society. The officer's recommendation that council approve a community loan for the Nango Agricultural, Pastoral and Mining Society Incorporated for $30,000, being for the installation of lighting at the Nango Showgrounds main arena based on the following conditions. 1, the loan being repaid in full within a 3-year period. 2, interest rate of 3.06% be applied. The current debt pool rate for a 3-year loan at the end of July 2022 set by the Queensland Treasury. 3, repayments of the loan to be made on a quarterly basis. 4, a personal guarantee from individuals is provided for the amount of the loan. 5, missed payments may result in council recalling the guarantee. And 6, that the Nango AP&M Society ensure that they have obtained the appropriate development approval for building work prior to commencing construction of the project. Do we have a mover? Councillor Erkins, thank you. Seconder? Councillor Henson. Questions, comments, councillors? All pretty straightforward. I think it's a great thing that's going on in the Nango. So I won't read the motion out again. It's been moved by Councillor Erkins, seconded by Councillor Henson. The motion in front of you, all those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 10.5, purchase of field uniforms 12-month agreement. The officer's recommendation that council approve the recommendation to establish a 12-month supply arrangement for high visibility field uniforms with the uniform zone. We have a mover. Councillor Shoemaker, second to Councillor Henson. Comments, questions, councillors? Councillor Shoemaker.
yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to note how wonderful it is that we have got a local supplier being able to supply these uniforms in our community. As we know, we've been very committed to increasing our local spend, and it's just wonderful to have this opportunity. So fully supportive of the motion and thank the team for the work that's gone in.
Totally agree. Okay, so we'll go to the motion, go to the vote. Moved by Councillor Shoemaker, second by Councillor Henson, that council approve the recommendation to establish a 12-month supply arrangement for high visibility field uniforms with uniform zone. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 10.6. Energy auction outcome. Officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council, 1, accept the new retailer Shell Energy Retail Proprietary Limited for the 8 sites for a period of a 24-month contract commencing the 1st of January 2023. And 2, consider a first quarter financial adjustment to the budget to account for the increase in energy costs. We have a mover. Councillor Potter. And second, Councillor Erkins. Comments, questions, anybody? I don't think we can do much about this, the increase in energy and all that sort of stuff.
Acting Chair,
CEO?
General Manager Jarvis might just say a couple of words if we may.
Yes, okay, General Manager.
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Chair. Acting Chair. Yes, it was, I just wanted to bring to Council's attention, as you did allude to there, Deputy Mayor, is that we have no control over these increases, but it does impact on our budget again, because the increase in the electricity costs there have gone up 97.5%. So I just wanted to highlight that, to Council, and that covers only 8 of our large use sites there that have got high volume consumption. So we have locked that contract in for another 2 years, as the trend there was progressing higher and higher, and we will revisit that in 2 years then to renegotiate another contract. Hopefully by that time there may be a decrease in the cost, but if we didn't go and confirm this and sign the contract, it would have gone much higher. So I just wanted to draw that, and we will have to adjust our budget to accommodate that cost as well. So I just want to draw that to Council's attention. Thank you. Oh, and sorry, and I just want to compliment Louise too, our head of procurement there. She's done a terrible lot of work on this, and she's got an excellent outcome, the best she could get for Council too. So I'd like to recognise her work in bringing this forward to Council. Thank you.
Yeah, good work, Louise. Okay, any other comments before we go to the votes? I don't think there's much we can say or argue about on this one. I think it's just we've got to do what we do. Okay, so moved by Councillor Potter, seconded by Councillor Erkins, that the South Burnett Regional Council, 1, accept the new retailer Shell Energy Retail Proprietary Limited for the 8 sites for a period of 24-month contract commencing 1st of January 2023, and 2, consider a first quarter financial adjustment to the budget to account for the increase in energy costs. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 10.7, inventory write-off. Officer's recommendation that Council approve the write-off of pre-consumed inventory that remains on record due to a change in practices and budget responsibilities, and that this write-off value be included as a first quarter budget adjustment. Do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, second to Councillor Erkins. Comments, questions, councillors? Again, I think this is another one that staff have taken control of, and I don't think there's much we can do about it. So we'll go straight to the vote. The Council approve the write-off of pre-consumed inventory that remains on record due to a change in practices and budget responsibilities, that this write-off value be included as a first quarter budget adjustment. All those in favour? Thank you, unanimous. Okay, 11.1. The Nango Group Title Schemes Information Report. Officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council, 1, note the report and provide the options in this report to the appropriate body corporate for their information, and include an option for the body corporate members to engage with property holders and the Commissioner for Body Corporate and Community Management with a view to re-establishing the body corporate as a functioning legal entity in meeting its responsibilities, including maintaining the access serviceway and drainage, and to report back to Council with the body corporate members' preferred option. And 2, delegate any administrative actions to the Chief Executive Officer as required. We have a mover. Councillor Erkins, seconded. Councillor Potter. Comments, questions?
Through you, Acting
Yes.
Chair. I spoke to another one of the some people from Benin Court, and apparently there are, just for the information of Council, there are 3 separate body corps there. I was under the impression there may have been only 1, but there are 3, and I believe the Secretary of the Benin Court would be worth speaking to. So I'll give his details to whoever I need to give them to.
Again, Councillor, my apologies for being out of the loop for a month, but is this the one that's out around the golf course there in that residential estate there? Yep. Yeah, no.
Yeah, yes.
We've been dealing with this for a while. It needs to be sorted out. So, yep, no, fair comment. Any other questions, comments, councillors? Go to the votes. Okay, motion moved by Councillor Erkin, seconded by Councillor Potter, that the South Burnett Regional Council, 1, note the report and provide the options in this report to the appropriate body corporate for their information, and include an option for the body corporate members to engage with property holders and the Commissioner for Body Corporate and Community Management with the view to re-establishing the body corporate as a functional legal entity in meeting its responsibilities, including maintaining the access serviceway and drainage, and to report back to council with the body corporate members' preferred option, and 2, delegate any administrative actions to the Chief Executive Officer as required. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. (11.2) Kingaroy Transformation Project, local spend and business occupancy. Officer's recommendation that council note the report. The report was there in the agenda. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, seconded Councillor Potter. Comments, questions, councillors?
Yeah, through the
Councillor Shoemaker.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor Jones. I was just going to congratulate the staff for compiling this report. I think it's wonderful to read that out of the $13.785 million spent in the Kingaroy Transformation Project, that an approximate amount of $5,197,492 has been spent in our local economy. That is a marvellous result, and I'm very mindful that there are services such as Fulton Hogan and professional services that I imagine we could not recruit locally, but I really just wanted to applaud and congratulate the team on the work that had been done in trying to recruit and use local services wherever possible. It's noted in the report the balance of the spend is made up in wages, plant and specialist expenditures such as asphalt, Telstra, Ergon, streetlights, stormwater pipes, TMR, approved contractors and other proprietary projects. So I just think that, you know, when we started this project, we spoke about how we wanted to keep as many of those dollars as we could in our local economy. It's wonderful to see that we have also seen some indirect benefits that have been expected to be around the $93,000, where contractors have identified local spend on accommodation and hospitality. And I think it's been wonderful to hear that directly from coffee shops and the like, where the guys actually working on the jobs have done their very best to support the businesses in which are in the area of the KTP footprint works. And I also think it's good to read about the KTP team who have conducted a walk around to try to provide a like-for-like comparison, which identified at the start of the project there are approximately 107 occupied premises and shops, and currently there still are 107 occupied premises and shops with approximately 16 vacancies. I know the Kingaroy Chamber of Commerce and many other small businesses are keen to see those shops full, and I know it's been wonderful to see some changes in the street. I definitely recognise that it is a difficult time for small business at the moment. Cost of living pressures are hitting everybody, and of course some of those retail experiences or things like going to your hairdresser and getting your nails done, you know, those sorts of costs are the first thing that are taken out of the household budget. So I recognise it can be a really difficult time for some businesses in the street. But I do hope, it was wonderful to see with Kingaroy Bacon Fest on the weekend, the positivity, the comments around how amazing the street looks. There's a real sense of pride in our community that, you know, the derelict streets and footpaths that once were causing people to fall over on regular occurrences have been repaired and replaced. And it was wonderful to see so many people, up to 20,000 people, enjoying all that the South Burnett had to offer in Kingaroy on the weekend and enjoying the upgraded precinct. Everybody was so proud of our beautiful community, and it was just wonderful to be a part of it. Just want to pass on my sincere thanks to the KTP team for all of their efforts, and certainly I'm looking forward to seeing the project complete. I know there have been many challenges along the way, but I do hope to see that cafe culture. Businesses like Little Italy are starting to open on Saturday and Sundays. You know, it will be wonderful to see more people around our street, and hopefully that increase in foot traffic will also have a flow-on effect to retailers in the street as well. So just wanted to thank you for the report. It's an exceptional report, and certainly I think something that we should all be very proud to share. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Jones.
Yeah, there's someone in the chamber wish to speak. Was that Mr. CEO?
General Manager Meehan was first go, and then General Manager Jarvis.
No,
Okay.
yeah, through you, Chair. I think the councillor nailed it. I have nothing further to add, so I'll take the leave and hand to General Manager Jarvis if that's okay.
Well, that's a blessing, General Manager Meehan. That's good.
Thank you, through you, Deputy Mayor. No, I'm sorry, I just wanted to just elaborate a little bit on Councillor Shoemaker's recognition of that report and acknowledge Simon Neal. Simon compiled that report. It took him a considerable amount of effort and energy to create what I believe is an excellent report, and so that he could share that with the councillors today, and I'm very thrilled with the result of it, but also to recognise my whole procurement team through this KTP project, the amount of work that they've put in by securing materials and merchandise for the team. I just want to, you know, do a big shout out to them. They've been very professional. I believe, I'm sure Aaron would agree with me, very, very supportive of the KTP project, and they've really delivered. So I just wanted to formally recognise my procurement team. They've all jumped in and done their bit. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I support everything that's been said there. And way back when in the previous term of council, when we discussed it and all that, and at the time Mayor Campbell and Councillor Flyflesser and all that sort of stuff, I'm hoping that they drive downtown now and see the results of some of the hard work and fighting that went on in that previous term, and this term of council has followed through and delivered. And I also want to congratulate the staff and all that sort of stuff. And I think Aaron, or General Manager, we're always talking about a completion date in October. Is that still looking like being achievable? November?
No, through the chair, I think most of our civil will be complete. Our biggest one at this stage is just making sure that the weather, I think, will be an impact on our surfacing. I think that's going to continue to disrupt us. I think everyone saw the rain last night. It's something that we'll talk to the department about, but we're largely finishing off the project now. We've actually started the alfresco structures this week, so they're in progress. But we'll continue to talk to the department and update council if that changes. Our electrical systems are on their way. CCTV is going in next week. So we are very much rounding out. Our presence on the ground will be reduced significantly over the next probably 4 weeks. It's just a matter of just tidying up those last things. And I'm hoping the forecast is against us, but I'm hoping the weather's going to be kind to us so we can just push along and be gone, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it'll be good to complete that KTP and get it finalised. And there's other issues across the region then in Nanango and Wandai and whatnot with footpaths that we need to address sooner rather than later. So that's up to us as a group to try and sort that out. Councillor Shoemaker, a quick one before we go to the vote.
Yes, I just had a question just in relation to extrapolating some of this information. I don't know whether there's an opportunity through your CEO, Mark, to maybe work with RDA just to see. I know it was we received $4.5 million from the Building Better Regions Fund for the application. I'm just keen to see, I know they can do calculations around how many direct and indirect jobs may have been created from this spend, and I'd be very keen to see that information, to see us be able to report that back to our community, because I know that was a key factor of the BBRF application. Mayor Campbell and certainly former councillors had a real vision for creating local jobs from this project. project and this spend. And I know just through General Manager Meehan, I'm pretty sure I've seen our local contractor doing the spray pave with up to 5 people on his crew at the moment. I guess just really keen to understand how we might be able to quantify some of that for the final round out report. CEO Mark, do you think there's an opportunity to work with RDA to progress some of that?
Yeah, thanks, Councillor, and through you, Acting Chair. Yeah, we've noted it as a comment. I think General Manager Meehan would also like to fire away straight away.
Yeah, through you, through the chair. The way that works is when the project's finished, councillor, we're probably happy to get a report run. It is an estimated value, obviously. So we did that at the start of the project, and obviously the project's significant value now. We can talk to probably RDA, but we might be able to get KBR to just run it through their system for us, which is what we've done in the previous one. So happy to bring that as an update. I think if council's happy, I'll bring that back probably with the final KTP report when we're finished, and we can round up what we think that estimate might be. That should be doable.
Okay, Acting.
Righty,
Chair.
thank you.
We'll note that as a future report. Well, we'll put a note in there that it'll be brought back as a future report at the finalisation of the project.
Thank you. Righto. So the motion is that the council note the report. Moved by Councillor Shoemaker, seconded by Councillor Potter. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 11.3. Kingaroy CBD parking and operations. The officer's recommendation that South Bennett Regional Council 1 undertake public consultation regarding the introduction of P10 parking in and around the Kingaroy Post Office in accordance with the map in attachment 1. 2, undertake public consultation regarding introducing parking regulation and restriction within the Kingaroy CBD. And 3, undertake public consultation to seek feedback from business owners and the community in relation to smoking within the Kingaroy CBD. Do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, second Councillor Henchen. Comments, questions? I think it's straightforward. It's a recommendation to do consultation. Councillor Shoemaker.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor Jones. Absolutely support this recommendation. Had direct feedback from a number of shops in the CBD, and particularly those with cafes and people trying to eat on the street, that we need to do something in this regard. Some businesses actually didn't even want to have a seat out the front of their shop because it's not uncommon for people to sit there smoking. And I had that direct feedback from people like Barry in the chemist there, who said, you know, his store can just smell terribly during the day, and it's not really, you know, aligned with his business values or the purpose of what he does. I think we've also had a number of conversations with the post office. It was wonderful to meet with my colleagues and the post office team. It's great to see it's been returned to the street, and you know, that has been a change in their business model, and from the time we started the initial consultation where they were located in the mall. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to work with them and to create better parking outcomes there for their operations. I also know we've had, through the consultation we've had with businesses in the street, Councillor Potter and I have had direct feedback from businesses seeking some sort of parking regulation so that workers aren't parking in front of other people's businesses. And I know the Chamber of Commerce is also very supportive of this. So keen to see us try to strike up a collaborative conversation and come up with some good outcomes for our community. So fully support this motion. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Jones.
Thank you. Other councillors before we go to the vote? You've got the motion there in front of you, moved by Councillor Potter, seconded by Councillor Henchen, that South Bennett Regional Council 1 undertake public consultation regarding the introduction of P10 parking in and around the Kingaroy Post Office in accordance with the map in attachment 1. 2, undertake public consultation regarding introducing parking regulation and restrictions within the Kingaroy CBD. And 3, undertake public consultation to seek feedback from business owners and the community in relation to smoking within the Kingaroy CBD. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. We're getting close to breaking for Smoko. So 11.4, LRCI Phase 3 extension. The officer's recommendation that the following projects are scoped and costed with a view to council applying the $1,644,465 of LRCI Phase 3 extension funding in the 23-24 year to these capital projects, and a report be brought to the November 22 Infrastructure Standing Committee meeting, including capital and whole-of-life costings for consideration. 1. Wandai Industrial Estate Stage 2. 2. Haley Street Wandai Drainage and Road Sealing. 3. Alfred Street East Kingaroy Stage 1 Rehabilitation. And 4. Gore Street Mergen State High School Curb and Channeling and Parking. Have a mover.
Councillor Henson.
Councillor Henson. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Erkins. Comments, questions, councillors? Councillor Shoemaker.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Jones. I would like to move a procedural motion that we lay this matter on the table until the council is able to discuss all projects that have been identified for potential LRCI funding. And that a workshop be scheduled to conduct such.
So, Mr. CEO, we just go to the procedural motion now, don't we? We vote on that?
Councillor Henson was trying to get in before, but there is you would call for a seconder for the procedural motion, yeah. So, yes, thanks, Chair.
So what happens there? I apologise, I missed Councillor Henson there.
Yeah, no,
Am I able to?
you would need to seek a seconder for the procedural motion, Chair.
Can anyone speak after that seconder on the procedural motion, or is the conversation finished?
Yeah, no, procedural will go straight to the vote, but you will need to seek a seconder for the procedural motion, Chair.
Okay, so we need a seconder for the procedural motion. Councillor Henson. So the procedural motion moved by Councillor Shoemaker, seconded by Councillor Henson, that the matter be laid on the table and a workshop be scheduled to discuss the projects. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. $11.5 LRCI funding variation options works for Queensland. Officer's recommendation: the South Burnett Regional Council reallocate $250,000 from the Works for Queensland funding in 22-23 for the Kingaroy Memorial Park Master Plan to the Tipperary Flat Park renewal. We have a mover. Councillor Erkins, seconder. Councillor Henson. Councillor Erkins, comments?
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually wanted to say something to the last, the procedural motion, but I'm not sure where to actually do that. So maybe if we can just go on with this, and then I'd just like to know, we did mention at one of the other meetings about us working with our community to identify projects. So this is again on that other motion beforehand. So I just didn't know where I could move a motion on doing that.
Yeah, with that, when you have a procedural motion, councillor, it takes all discussion. If a procedural motion is moved in the chamber, it goes straight to the vote. And if that's successful, that's the end of the conversation.
No, I understand that, but I had another motion that I would like to move from the floor.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll deal with this one and then we can get advice from CEO this morning to you.
Yep, okay, thanks.
Yep. So have you got any comments around that, councillor, in regards to the South Burnett Regional Council reallocate $250,000 from the Works of Queensland funding in 22-23 for the Kingaroy Memorial Park Master Plan to the Tipperary Flat Park renewal?
No, I'd just like to say that we had a great turnout of local residents at that meeting and a great turnout of councillors and staff. So it's looking good. Thanks.
Yeah. Councillor Shoemaker, you had your hand up? No?
Yes, just really excited. It was great to meet with some of the members of the Nanango community. It's clear that this funding will only deliver on stage 1 of the park redevelopment sort of works, and that much more work will need to be done to restore it to its former glory. But it's wonderful to see that we are making a start, and I am looking forward to being a part of it.
Yeah. Mr. C. Yeah, thank you. Mr. CEO, I just with this temporary flat, I'd take your advice on this. I had, after that meeting, I was in contact with a fair few people. Obviously, I wasn't there due to other issues, but they also want to try and address in that temporary flats, obviously the 250K, I believe, will be suffice to do the surface work and all that and bring that up to a standard and get rid of that bloody, excuse me, dirty, smelly water and all that sort of stuff. They also mentioned about the water feature. Now, I've done a little bit of homework, and General Manager O'May, be interested in your thoughts on this. I believe that we need to purchase a new pump and whatnot, a bit of electrical work and parts. Some of the timber may need to be replaced, and maybe better trying to find a better option than the timber, maybe plastic or something like that, so the electrical work and all that, in my rough estimates and talking to people that are in the know a little bit, there's around about a $3,000 to $4,000 spend that would have that water feature up and running and operating again. Is there any possibility in your Parks and Gardens budget that you could possibly see a way to source $3,000 to go towards that, to that's the main feature that they address. They really wanted that water feature up and going. So I've done a little bit of work, not so much myself, but I've had other people running around for me and just checking what needs to be done there. And the feedback I got's about a $3,000 to $4,000 spend.
Acting Chair, if I may, can we take that as a question on notice? Because, and certainly not speaking against the project for Tipperary Flat is a wonderful project, and I don't think there's any disagreement anywhere that it needs to be done. The issue with this resolution and previous discussions with this is we talk a lot about scoping a project, and I believe Acting General Manager Lowe raised it at the time. This is where we do get into difficulties because we don't know what we're doing before we allocate the money and where the priorities lie. So on this one, rather than just giving an off-the-hip question and answer today, there was the excellent meeting on site, getting a scope of works. I have my own doubts about whether the 250 will do what's been discussed. But anyway, I think we need to now get this scoped up, add that into the mix, and if it's a $3,000 spend, it's probably an operational spend any which way. So rather than a capital, whether we can fold it into that project and capitalise it, I don't know. But yeah, we'll take it as a question on notice and then feed it back with the scoping and the costing of this project, because we only have a short period of time to get this done by December too. Really, if 175 starts on 1st of January, we won't be able to be playing with the scope too much once we settle on it.
No, fair point. And with the 250, with the community expectations of what I've got to feedback, your 250 won't even go halfway. So the tough conversations need to be had, and the work needs to, so totally agree. And so sorry, happy to take that question on notice. And we'll talk to Peter.
Thank you. Yep. We'll bring it back and have a lookie.
So my apologies for railroading the meeting there. LRCI funding, variation options, the motion moved by Councillor Erkin, second by Councillor Henson, that the South Burnett Regional Council reallocate $250,000 from the Works of Queensland funding in 22-23 for the Kingaroy Memorial Park Master Plan to the Tipperary Flat Park renewal. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, that brings us to 10:15 and up to item 12. Are we all happy to break for morning tea, or do you want to continue on? Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Jones, I'm just at the Regional Housing Forum, and I have got an opportunity to engage with the Queensland Department of Communities and Housing at 11 a.m. I was wondering if it would be okay if we can just push through till then and break at 11. My apologies, colleagues.
No, that's, I'm happy. Is all the other councillors happy with that? Push through to 11? Yeah. Okay, we'll keep on rolling. 12.1, Community Forum. Officers' recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council hold an open community forums inviting residents to bring forward projects that they wish to draw to council's attention for future capital works programs.
Acting Chair, if this is this where Councillor Erkins was just going before? So is this I did think it. If this is the same, we can deal with any of those matters here.
Yep.
Okay, so do we have a mover? Councillor Erkins, seconder. Councillor Potter. Comments, questions? Councillor Erkins.
Yeah, I think that, we sit in council a lot and we all want something done for our community, but I'd like to see us working in partnership with the CEOs and our general managers and invite community members, maybe not even so much to a meeting, because sometimes people are reluctant to come to meetings, but invite them to bring forward projects that they wish to see progressed in future works programs. I just think it's pretty important that we are working and doing what our communities want. There's a lot of people in our communities that have got a good knowledge of what's out there and what we need. So I'm really supportive of this. As I said, I'm not necessarily that it has to be a meeting even, but just encouraging them to come forward with projects, inviting them to come forward with projects.
Yeah. So you're happy with your issue there that we skipped over there before procedural motion? That'll fit in underneath that one? Yep.
Definitely. Thank you.
Councillors, other comments, questions before we go to the votes?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Potter here. I actually think that community is actually usually pretty good in coming forward with these ideas, but I think, as Councillor Erkin said, maybe through media promotions and, ourselves getting out there, all the different community organisations, and I actually think this is a really good idea.
Thank you. Okay, the motion is there before you, moved by Councillor Erkin, second by Councillor Potter. South Burnett Regional Council holding an open community forum inviting residents to bring forward projects they wish to draw to council's attention for future capital works programs. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 13.1, feral pig management. The officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council 1 scope a project plan to manage and control a feral pig population and provide indicative costs to bolster controls and education awareness programs. 2, schedule a meeting with our neighbouring councils' NRM teams to discuss a collaborative approach to feral pig management and shared target to suppress feral pig populations. 3, work with Queensland biosecurity officers to coordinate a mock exercise with key industry stakeholders and council's disaster management team. 4, establish a working group and develop a biosecurity plan that is fit for purpose for our region. 5, that these measures are reported back to consecutive livability standing committee meetings to demonstrate that these matters are progressed. And finally, 6, introduce an elevated media campaign. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson, seconder, Councillor Shoemaker. Comments, questions before we go to the vote? It's all there. It's we put that in place. Councillor Henson, anything to comment?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, just quickly on that, I really believe that in scheduling meetings with our neighbouring councils, NRM teams, we will get a lot of very valuable feedback on that. And I concur with Jim Wilmore at the back of the room here. That being said, and I think in relation to mock exercises, there's going to need to be budgetary implications here in implementing this, that's for sure, especially when you have conversation with our neighbouring councils and you'll see what's involved, especially if it's in anything to do with aerial, which I've stated before that Western Downs does. But if there's going to be something mock, I'd like to have it fairly fruitful and fulfilling rather than just a practice, and I think that would be able to be achieved by having great feedback from our neighbouring councils. So just wanted to bring that to the Chamber's attention, but I think this is a step forward, a great step forward on just some part of our feral management and certainly in our pig management with foot and mouth on everybody's tip of their tongue at the moment. So I look forward to progressing with this. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. All right, we'll go to the vote. The motion is moved by Councillor Hanchin, second by Councillor Shoemaker. You see the motion in front of you. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 13.2, weed and feral animal management issues. The officer's recommendation: 1, that the report be received and council adopt the attached emergency response plans as presented, and 2, that council's NRM section continue to progress the implementation of each emergency response plan with updates to council on a regular basis. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hanchin. Seconder, we have a seconder, Councillor Potter. Questions, comments? Councillor Hanchin.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, this one works hand in hand a little bit with the previous item on the agenda. I'm not sure whether, Jim, you have any input into that or would like to make a comment on it, but it states here that additional budget allocation, there could be implications of $170,000, which would be a great starting point, of course, but you know, it goes on there, not to just mention feral pigs, but also Parthenium weed, and we have the cactus tiger pears now. It is not actually recognised as a pest at the moment, but I think in time that may well be if we bring it to more people's attention. Can I also ask, just and direct this at General Manager O'May, in relation to, and I'm happy to question or notice, in relation to the signage around FMD that we talked about in Chambers, where's the progress or any progress on that? And again, happy to take that question or notice, Manager O'May. But yeah, thank you. Deputy Mayor Jones.
Thank you, Councillor Hanchin. GM O'May, you got any response or just take that on notice?
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, I'll catch up with Councillor Hanchin because that was the motion that Councillor Hanchin and I catch up and progress that. So yeah, we'll catch up after the meeting and go through that with the councillor. And just on this report, yeah. So I think Jim can probably talk a little bit to the programs, but this was in response to council's request at the committee meeting that we accelerate an action plan on the Parthenium and the feral pigs and education campaign. So Jim's put together a program in each of those areas and indicated some indicative costings. Obviously, that is probably at council's cost. We are looking at whether there is possibility of QRA funding for something like the Parthenium with the foot and mouth, whether there will be additional funding, but there isn't any guaranteed funding at this point in time. I'll probably talk. Jim can talk to the actual plans.
Is Jim there, or is it we happy to move forward?
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. I can give a brief overview just on those key plans. In regards to the sustained suppression of regional feral pig populations, I think I've mentioned before, you've got to knock out 75% of the base population of pigs every year just to keep up. And look, we're not doing that at the present time, and really we've got no information on how many pigs are out there. And one of the key issues that was mentioned in the National Feral Pig Action Plan was there's no regional data for feral pig populations, or very limited. So part of that program was just looking at or trialling the use. It could be thermal technology out of a helicopter in specific areas to work out what feral pigs are there. That works out to be around 35 cents a hectare. It has been used in the past. HQ plantations actually use this type of technology to determine the population of feral horses in a lot of their plantations. It just needs more research, and basically what I'm proposing here is a battle plan, a regional battle plan for feral pig management, where we get as much land mass as we can under coordinated management, but we also check off that the investment that's going into feral pig management is actually making a difference. And I think that's very important. Before running off, flying around in helicopters, spending a lot of money, we need to be informed by the best scientific advice as well. At a meeting I attended with Biosecurity Queensland last week at the research station, there's some really good information and scientific data coming in on feral pig movements, where best to bait, where best to trap, where to shoot, and that information needs to be fed into our programs so we get the best outcomes. So that's what the feral pig suppression is all about, and it really needs to be backed up right across in I guess our NRM program right through the community, and having, I guess, a more proactive extension and awareness regime. And that's getting back to doing shows, holding forums for biosecurity issues, and even holding things like, and what was proposed by Biosecurity Queensland, masterclasses on what is the latest feral management pertaining, say, to pigs, what's the best way to trap, new trapping technology, how far to lay baits out from watercourses, and that's all that data is coming in now, and it needs to be promoted and extended out to the community. So we're best placed to deliver, I guess, feral pig management. So, and again, the response plan for Parthenium within the Cherbourg area was developed because we know that that is one of the core hotspots regionally, if not in southeast Queensland, for the management of Parthenium, and poses a huge risk, just not downstream of the Baramba through Bailey and all that very productive cropping country, but also to all the other areas in our region and further south that are working hard to keep the areas clear of Parthenium weed. We know Parthenium weed is in isolated areas in the northern part of the Shire, but as you know, and what I reported to Council some months back, the results of the aerial survey and feedback and ground truthing is that we have very little Parthenium in the southern area of our region, and we want to keep it that way. So this investment that we're proposing out at Cherbourg is going to help stop that. And also it's going to need further funding, like in collaboration with Cherbourg Aboriginal Shire Council, and working together to look at what other funding options there. But with the Parthenium, if you go out there now, it's already started to flush up on the banks. That's very early, and that would indicate to us that we would expect a ripper season for weeds like Parthenium, giant rat's tail grass, and a few other weed species that are just waiting there or already getting a go on with the good soil moisture profile. Thank you, councillors.
Thanks, Jim, for that report. And yeah, look,
No,
you
Deputy
guys are
Mayor.
up against it.
Sorry, Deputy Mayor, just another comment. Yeah, thank you. Just in relation to that, and just something to take on board with Parthenium, and you're right, it's the possibility and the talk on everybody's tongue is in the event of we break and get spring rain, what a wonderful bumper season it will be. Nearly every meeting, and yesterday went to a police consultative meeting, it's on the tip of everybody's tongue that they are saying in the next 6 months this predicted wet weather event, which they're comparing to 74 and 2011. In the event of that, in relation to our feral pig management, that will become extremely difficult because people are saying out there now the numbers are exorbitant. Myself have got numbers which I have not seen before. In relation to Parthenium, if we get more, another 5, 1, whatever major rain events, and it floods again, that's going to be catastrophic. So we go and control Mother Nature, unfortunately, but just need to be diligent about that. Thanks, Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor. Okay, so we go to the motion moved by Councillor Anchin, second by Councillor Potter. 1, that the report be received and Council adopt the attached emergency response plans as presented. And 2, the Council's NRM section continue to progress the implementation of each emergency response plan with updates to Council on a regular basis. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 13.3, reconfiguring one lot into 3 lots at 272 Mount McEwen Road, Mount McEwen, and described as Lot 221 on FY 1361. Applicant Bruce and Andrea Anning, care of O'Reilly Nunn Favia Surveyors. The officer's recommendation that the council approve the development permit for a reconfiguring of a lot 1 into 3 lots at Mount McEwen Road, Mount McEwen, as described as Lot 221 on FY 1361 and situated. The applicant Bruce and Andrea Anning. Gen 1, the approved development must be completed and maintained generally in accordance with the approval plans and documents, except where amended by the conditions of this permit. You can see there the drawing title, the site report prepared by ONF and ATC engineers. Timing Gen 2, all works including the repair of relocation of services is to be completed at no cost to council, and compliance Gen 4, all conditions of this approval are to be satisfied.
Acting Chair, you'd be able to take that one as tabled rather than
As
go.
read.
Yep,
Yeah,
yes,
no,
please.
that's good. I was wondering how far that was going to go down, Mr. CEO. Thanks for pulling me up. Okay, so we'll just stick back up to the officer's recommendation there as I read. Do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, thank you. Seconder? Councillor Henson. Questions, comments? I think it's all straightforward. It's all there in front of you. We'll go straight to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Well picked up, Mr. CEO. (14.1), adoption of State Recovery and Resilience Plan 22 to 24. The officer's recommendation that the State Recovery and Resilience Plan 22-24 and companion document to the State Recovery and Resilience Plan 21-22 Southern Queensland floods be received. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, seconder Councillor Erkins. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 14.2, Wide Bay Burnett Regional Waste Steering Committee officer's recommendation that the Waste and Recycling Portfolio Holder, Councillor Potter, be nominated as council's delegate for the Wide Bay Burnett Regional Waste Steering Committee and invited to the relevant meetings. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, seconder Councillor Henson. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 15.1, a grant application, Tourism Experience Development Fund. The officer's recommendation that council develop and submit an application to the Tourism Experience Development Fund for the following capital works programs. The project: install 8 new split air conditioners into cabins at Bajalki Peterson Dam, install new vinyl in kiosk kitchen, compliance with food safety, Bajalki Peterson Dam, sand and polish kiosk public area, Bajalki Peterson Dam, purchase and installation of new carports, Bajalki Peterson Dam, installation of shower in accommodation contractors facility, Bajalki Peterson Dam, and Boondoomba kiosk improvements. Total cost $200,000. 2, that the current capital works program allocation of $127,000 be earmarked for this project, and subject to the grant application being approved, an additional $23,000 be provided in the first quarter capital budget review to fund council's portion of the total project costs, i.e. 75% $150 of total project costs of $200. Item 3, that should the grant application be unsuccessful, a revised capital works program be prepared with a reduced scope of works matching the original budget allocation of $127,000. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, seconder Councillor Potter. Comments? All good projects there, all funding opportunities. So we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? All unanimous, thank you. 15.2, Alan Sterling Memorial Park, design of concept plans. Councillor Shoemaker, I believe you're right to stay. The officer's recommendation is that on 1, the development of concept plan for Alan Sterling Memorial Park be added to the operational plan for 23-24, and 2, scope of works and costing for the concept plan be considered in the 23-24 budget. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Potter. Questions, comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 15.3, Kingaroy Lions Park toilet upgrades. Officer's recommendation that 1, the Kingaroy Lions Park amenities is replaced with a new accessible and total inclusive amenity, and 2, additional allocation of 190,000 for the construction of a new amenity, footpaths and PWD car park be provided from building asset restricted cash in 22-23. Do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, seconder. Councillor Henson. Comments? Councillor Erkins, you got your hand there? Can't hear you, you're on mute.
Yep. I went down and had a look at those toilets, and while I'm not a builder, I would appreciate somebody else going down, a builder going down and having a look. I think that they are not. I think 190,000 is a lot of money to spend on them. I think they could be refurbished and made look quite good for a lot less money than that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Shoemaker.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor Jones. I did too go for a good walk around the toilet facility on the weekend. I know it's not compliant in its current form, and I know we got a dilapidation report on it that, our original plan was to render and refurbish the facilities. I would like to propose, I would like to better understand the $190,000 spend. I've just recently been to a mountain biking tournament and would like to congratulate Kingaroy State High, who are the champs 3 years in a row. I had a look at the toilet facilities there that Caloundra Council, Sunshine Coast Council has built in Caloundra, and, I'm probably just keen to have a look at bigger picture for the park there, what our options may be. Look, I fell into some of the cracks around the playground equipment. It really is appalling. I do think, I do wonder if we can't sweat the toilets a little bit longer and maybe look at doing something with that playground. I don't know, but I guess I'm thinking it might be worthwhile we actually lay this matter on the table and arrange a meeting with all councillors at the facility with our staff so that we can have a discussion about what is the best way forward and get some ideas for what this spend would actually look like. So I'd like to put forward a procedural motion that we lay the matter on the table and arrange an on-site meeting with councillors and council staff to discuss the options.
Can I, that takes all the conversation out of it. Councillor.
You need a seconder?
You will do, yeah.
I'm happy to second the motion.
Yeah. So the procedural motion is moved by Councillor Shoemaker that the matter lay on the table and arrange on an on-site meeting with councillors and council staff to discuss the options, seconded by Councillor Erkins. It's a procedural motion, councillors. We have to go straight to the vote. All those in favour? So we've got Councillors Shoemaker, Erkins, Jones and Henson in favour. Against? Councillor Potter, I didn't see you. Are you for or against? Against? Yes, so Councillor Potter against. So the procedural motion got up 4 votes to 1. 15.4, Boondoomba Homestead Conservation Management Plan. Officer's recommendation that the Boondoomba Homestead Conservation Management Plan is endorsed as the principal guiding tool for the owners and managers of Boondoomba Homestead to direct the future management, maintenance and conservation works, adaptive reuse, new works, potential future uses and interpretation of the heritage place. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson, seconder. Councillor Erkins, comments, questions? Go to the
Deputy,
vote.
oh, sorry, Deputy
yes,
Chair. Councillor
Mr. CEO.
Erkins has got her hand up.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Sorry. Councillor Erkins, you're on mute, Jane.
Yeah, I'm sorry that the hand up was was by mistake. I'm still trying to work the system.
No.
Sorry.
All good. Mr. CEO's keen eye. Okay, so we'll go straight to the vote. We have the motion there, moved by Councillor Henson, seconded by Councillor Erkins, that the Boondoomba Homestead Conservation Management Plan is endorsed as the principal guiding tool for the owners and managers of Boondoomba Homestead to direct the future management, maintenance and conservation works, adaptive reuse, new works, potential future uses and interpretation of the heritage place. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 15.5, Mergen Administration Building Boundary Realignment. The officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council, 1, apply to the Department of Resources for a deed of grant over Lot 2 on M55131, which is a reserve for local government, and set aside $40,000 in the 22-23 budget to convert tenure to freehold, undertake the realignment of the boundaries and relocation of water infrastructure servicing Council's administration building. 2, approve in accordance with Section 236 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 as a disposal of a non-current asset to a not-for-profit organisation to dispose part of the reserve for local government, being Lot 2 on M55131, which is subject to an encroachment by the Returned and Services League of Australia, Queensland Branch, Mergen Sub-Branch Incorporated, and 3, accept the gift of land being that part of L110 on SP 315753, which is encroached upon by ancillary improvements of the Mergen Administration Building, car park and hedges. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, seconder Councillor Erkins. Comments? All straightforward, I think. We go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 15.6, Gift of Land Return Services League Kingaroy. Officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council investigate further the availability of council-owned land to transfer to the Kingaroy Memorandum Sub-Branch Incorporated of the Return Services League for nil consideration in accordance with Section 2361B II of the Local Government Regulation 2012. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, seconder Councillor Erkins. Questions? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 15.7, incontinence bins for public amenities. Officer's recommendation, a 6-month trial take place for incontinence bins at 5 councils' halls, Anango, Kingaroy, Mergen, Wandai and Proston. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson, seconder. Councillor Potter. All those in, comments?
Yeah, Councillor Potter here,
Councillor
thank
Potter.
you. Look, I was actually approached again recently by a gentleman wanting these particular bins in the male toilets. So I'm looking forward to putting these out through the on a trial basis and seeing how they go through the council halls. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have it there. Motion moved by councillor Anchin, second by councillor Potter. A 6-month trial take place for incontinence bins at 5 council halls, Nango, Kingaroy, Mergen, Wandi and Proston. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 15.8. Tender evaluation for the management and operation of the Wandi swimming pool. The officer's recommendation that the South Bennett Regional Council award tender SBRC 2122/16 to Natalie Mann as per their tender price submitted. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson. Seconder? Councillor Potter. Sorry, Councillor Potter, your black arm was blending in with the desk behind you. I couldn't see you. Any comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 15.9. Tender for the SBRC Q2122 75 lease of shops, Lamb Street, Mergen. Officer's recommendation that South Bennett Regional Council, 1, in accordance with S2261 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, enter into a lease with the Cornerstone Christian Ministries Incorporated for part of Lot 1 on M55124, known as Shop 70, for a term of 12 months with 4 options of 12 months for an annual rental of $10,400 plus GST with fixed annual rental increases of 3%, and 2, delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to negotiate, finalise and execute the lease between the Council and the Cornerstone Christian Ministries Inc. on terms and conditions as offered in tender SBRCQ 212275, and that the Chief Executive Officer reasonably considers satisfactory to Council. Do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, seconded Councillor Erkins. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. (15.10). Lease 6668 Lamb Street, Mergen. Officer's recommendation that South Bennett Regional Council, 1, in accordance with S2361A I of the Local Government Regulation 2012, enter into a lease with Serendipity WA Proprietary Limited, trading as Advanced Personal Management, for part of Lot 1 on M55124, known as Shop 66 and 68, for a term of 3 years for a rental amount of $35,000 per annum plus GST, with an annual rental increase of 3%. 2, provide 6 months rent-free from the commencement of the lease. And 3, delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to negotiate, finalise and execute the lease between Council and Serendipity WA Proprietary Limited, trading as Advanced Personal Management, on terms and conditions that the Chief Executive Officer reasonably considers as satisfactory to Council. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, second to Councillor Henson. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 15.11. Renewal of licence to occupy Barambah and District Aero Club Aerodrome Building. Officer's recommendation that the South Bennett Regional Council, 1, in accordance with S2361B I or 2 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, enter into a licence to occupy with the Barambah District Aero Club Inc. for the Aero Club building part of Lot 5 on RP 83495 for a term of 5 years with an option for 5 years for a rental amount of $264.22 per annum plus GST with an annual CPI index increase. 2, delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to negotiate, finalise and execute the licence to occupy between Council and the Barambah District Aero Club Inc. on terms and conditions the Chief Executive Officer considers are satisfactory to Council. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, second to Councillor Potter. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 15.12. Renewal of licence to occupy Barambah and District Aero Club Here we go. Barambaran District Aero Club General Purpose Area Terminal Building. Officer's recommendation that the South Bennett Regional Council, 1, in accordance with S2361B2 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, enter into a licence to occupy with the Barambaran District Aero Club Inc. for general purpose area part of Lot 5 on RP 83495 for a term of 5 years with an option for 5 years for a rental amount of $75 per annum plus GST, and 2, delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to negotiate, finalise and execute the licence to occupy between Council and the Barambaran District Aero Club Inc. on terms and conditions the Chief Executive Officer considers are satisfactory to Council. Do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, second to Councillor Erkins. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. (15.13) Renewal of lease, Queensland Police Citizens Youth Welfare Association. Officer's recommendation that the South Bennett Regional Council, 1, in accordance with S2361B2 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, enter into a trustee lease with the Queensland Police Citizens Association for part of Lot 7 on SP 217287, known as Lease Area D, F and J, for a term of 10 years for rental amount of $75 per annum, GST exclusive. 2, delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to negotiate, finalise and execute the trustee lease between Council and the Queensland Police Citizens Youth Welfare Association on terms and conditions the Chief Executive Officer reasonably considers are satisfactory to Council. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, seconder. Councillor Henson. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. 15.14. Renewal licence to occupy Barambaran District Aero Club Hangar 6. Officer's recommendation that the South Bennett Regional Council, 1, in accordance with S2361B2 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, enter into a licence to occupy with the Barambaran District Aero Club Inc. for Hangar 6 as part of Lot 5 on RP 83495 for a term of 5 years with an option for 5 years for the rental amount of $155.12 plus GST with annual CPI reviews. 2, delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to negotiate, finalise and execute the licence to occupy between Council and the Barambaran District Aero Club Inc. on terms and conditions the Chief Executive Officer considers are satisfactory to Council. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson, second to Councillor Potter. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 16. We have nothing in 16. We go straight to 17. Information section 17.1. List of correspondence pending completion of assessment report. The officer's recommendation that the list of correspondence pending completion of assessment report be received. Do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, seconder. Councillor Erkins, comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 17.2, Delegated Authority Reports, 1st of July 22 to the 31st of July 22. Officer's recommendation that the Delegated Authority Report be received. Do we have a mover? Councillor Erkins, seconded Councillor Potter. Comments? Go to the vote. Those in favour? Unanimous, thank you.
Acting Chair, given we're moving into the closed session and it's all but 11 and Councillor Shoemaker would need time to get to where she's going, if we break for, now are we breaking for half an hour or are we taking an early lunch? Is that?
Councillor Shoemaker, guided by you.
I literally have to duck across the hall and I'm happy. We've only got a couple of items here in confidential. I'm happy to push through and just be a little bit late to the session because it goes through until 12:30. So up to you. Otherwise, I can duck back. But yeah, happy to just push through.
Yeah, if you're happy with that, Councillor, if everyone else is happy to go, we've only got another 10 or 15 minutes. We should be done.
Yeah,
Councillors,
I think that's
guided by
probably...
you. All the other councillors happy?
Sorry, Councillor Henson.
That's
Councillor
perfectly
Henson,
right,
you
Councillor
ready?
Shoemaker. I'm perishing here. I'm getting quite forgetful.
That's, yeah.
All right.
Yes, we'll keep going quickly, Councillor Henson, so you can get some tucker into that tummy.
Yep.
Okay, so the
In
officer's recommendation.
consideration of time, acting chair, I would take 19 as, because it's just identifying the report. So when we move into the closed session, 19, 1 to 6 as read, and then straight into closed.
Yep. So the officer's recommendation, the council considers the confidential reports listed below in a meeting closed to the public in accordance with section 254J of the Local Government Regulation 2012 and as guided by the CEO, 19.1 through to 19.6 is as read, and we will move into closed. I move that we move into a closed meeting. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Erkins, all those in favour? Unanimous, thank you.
We'll just
Said she'll move a resolution to come out of closed session.
Yep.
good to go.
All righty. Well, I'll probably I'd like to move a resolution that we come out of closed back into open meeting. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Potter, thank you. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Dealing with item 19.1, tender assessment, SBRC 2223/01, cleaning of Mergen and Wandai facilities. The officer's recommendation is that the South Burnett Regional Council 1 award tender SBRC 2223/01 to Clean Man Family Trust for the cleaning of the council buildings and facilities in the Wandai and Mergen areas as per their tender price, and 2, allocate additional budget in the first quarter review in 22-23.
Through you, Mr. Acting Mayor, could I move a procedural motion that the matter lay on the table until further options can be brought back to the council?
Yes, you can. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Potter. So as a procedural motion, no discussions, we go straight to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 19.2, the approval to accept offers and enter into a contracts for the sale of land. Officer's recommendation that 1, should an offer be received, council will accept an offer and enter into a contract of sale that is within the market value assessment of A, 14 Earl Street, Memorandum, B, 9 Bar Street, Highsville, and 2, delegate to the CEO to negotiate and enter into a contract for the sale of the properties above if the offer is outside of this range, but is evidenced by a written valuation report about the market value of land from a valuer registered under the Valuers Registration Act 1992 in accordance with section 236 of the Local Government Regulation 2012. Do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, seconder. Councillor Erkins. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 19.3. Consideration to remove assessment 14338/00000/000 from sale of land proceedings. Officer's recommendation that 1, assessment 14338/00000/000 be removed from the current sale of land proceedings and any conditions on which this is reliant upon, and 2, that the application to pay by instalments is accepted once signed by the property owner under the rates collection policy, with interest to be stopped while the payment plan is being upheld. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, second to Councillor Potter. Comments? We go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 19.4. Application to waive interest and legal charges assessment 14376-00000-000. Officer's recommendation that council agrees to waive legal charges of $1,036.89 on assessment 14376/00000/000 and $787.35 in interest charges. Do we have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Potter. Second to Councillor Shoemaker. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 19.5. application to waive legal and interest on assessment 24579/11700/000. Officer's recommendation that council agrees to waive $701.95 on assessment 24579/11700/000, which is made up of $503.87 in legal fees and $198.08 in interest charges. Do we have a mover? Councillor Erkins, thank you. Councillor Potter seconded. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 19.6. What have you done to me, Bree?
Just putting it up now.
Undetected water leak assessment 12459/00000/000. The officer's recommendation that council conduct a review of assessment 12459/00000/000 and outstanding undetected water leaks and provide a report to the September ordinary meeting of council, and that whilst this review is being undertaken, that no penalty be applied to the impacted assessments. Do we have a mover? Councillor Erkins, second to Councillor Potter. Comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Well, there you go. Thank you all very much for attending our August general meeting, and I would like to declare the meeting closed at 11:39 a.m. Thank you all very much and enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch up with you personally in the very near future. Thank you.